In the headlines, residents cry out as military camp forces school children out of school. 2 dead, 3 missing as passenger boat burns to ashes in Niger State. And Obasanjo advocates single-digit interest rate for agricultural loans in the country. On the foreign scene, Israel directs citizens to immediately leave Egypt and Jordan. Hello there, good afternoon and good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin the update in Katsina as school children, hundreds of them in Gadawa and neighboring villages in Amusa local government area of Katsina State, were sent home from school as a military unit turns the primary school into a military camp. Now, this development was in reaction to the resurgence of bandits activity in the aftermath of the abduction of over 300 secondary school students in Amusa and Dusima local government areas of Katsina State. Here's the latest.
Gadawa village, situated along the Dusima-Kankara road, became a perfect location for the military camp, with Gadawa Primary School taken over as a ready-made infrastructure for the unit. The school, according to locals, had about 370 pupils from Gadawa and neighboring villages. However, with the military takeover of the facility, many pupils were forced out of school. A few parents who can afford daily transport of their wards to and from school have transferred their children to other schools at Yantomaki and other towns miles away from the community. On a visit to the area, our reporter gathered that about 70 children were still attending classes in an uncompleted mud house that has neither roof nor doors and windows, a situation that makes their condition of learning deplorable. It was around midday, but the temporary school had already closed as the pupils could not study under the scorching sun on the day, and their few metal seats were terribly hot. Lamenting the situation, some of the parents expressed their dismay as they have made several attempts to reach out to the government for help, but failed to reach their target.
To abin da dai yake dan damu mu yanzu kuma domin Allah muna buƙatar abu kamar islamoyin nan da ake yi kamar masallacin juma'a da bamu da shi gashi mun sa gini abu ya tsaya mu.
Actually, we used to have about 370 pupils in that school, but unfortunately the majority of them are now just roaming about the streets, while others help their parents in hawking wares. The house where our children are learning is not in the real sense habitable because during the rainy season, children cannot use the building because it has no roof, which makes the whole place muddy. Similarly, the children cannot use the place during the dry season because the heat will be unbearable. Now that we are approaching the Harmattan season, you can only imagine how cold it will be without a roof. The future of this community is bleak as the vast majority of its children cannot obtain a good education.
Yaran nan namu dai bayan da zai a ce dai an zanna ba wani ilimi a kansu shine aka ce to mutanen gari suka hada kai to
we really want our children to be educated, but unfortunately there is no space for them. It is about 3 years now since the takeover following the insecurity that bedeviled our area. We woke up one day only to see that the army had taken over the school and converted it into their camp. We appeal to the government to provide another place for the army or build another school for the children.
Yanda ake tare da shi yanzu duk wanda Allah ya hukunta bai da ilimi. We have
children from Gadawa here, known as Sabon Garin Dan Adi. There is another Gadawa, which is the old village from where our village got its name. Most of them now, especially the Fulani children, have now dropped out. I am appealing to the government to help our children because without education, some of them will grow into miscreants that will in turn harm the society. We first of all sat at our level and discussed the way out of the deteriorating state of the education that young ones are exposed to. We then took the matter to the elders of our community and together we decided to take the matter to the Damusa local education authorities after consulting the teachers of the affected schools. But unfortunately, after several attempts, we couldn't get our complaints through.
Another resident of the community, Tasiu Umara, said it was unfortunate that some children who completed their primary school in the area could not correctly write their names due to the poor teaching and learning environment.
To Niger State now, where 2 persons have been confirmed dead and others reportedly missing after a wooden passenger boat was gutted by fire shortly after taking off in Kacha local government area of the state on Friday. The incident was reported at around 6 p.m. shortly after the boat was loaded with goods and passengers set to return home after the weekly Kacha market day. According to reports, the boat engine misfired, leading to a blaze engulfing the boat. Confirming the incident, the leader of the boat operators in Kacha says the boat was burnt to ashes along with goods worth millions of naira. A little earlier, we spoke to Abubakar Akote in Niger State, who gave us an update on the incident.
The incident happened around 6 p.m. on Friday when the boat engine caught fire due to mechanical failure and inflamed a jerrycan of petrol stored inside the boat. There were 145 people on board, and the occupants were from Dambo and adjoining communities in Kogi State. They were on their way back from Kacha Market when the incident happened, and more than half of them were said to be women and children who could not swim even when the incident happened. And when the engine caught fire, they were all confused and started jumping into the water despite the fact that they could not swim. And what saved the situation, according to eyewitness, was that the boat had not gone far from the point of takeoff, and local divers immediately launched a search operation, and they were able to rescue them, even though 2 children lost their lives. However, they said the situation worsened because there were about 15 jerrycans loaded with petrol and stored near the engine of the boat, which the boat operator used as a reserve in case the fuel in the tank got finished. I used them to the reserve to fill the tank. And then, so when the engine caught fire, it extended to the jerrycan loaded with petrol, and then it escalates, and then the canoe or the boat was burnt to ashes.
And in Plateau State, the state government is demanding justice for late Miss Grace Salas, a youth corps member who was stabbed to death in Kaduna State recently. Now, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development in the state, Caroline Dafur Panglang, said in a statement in Jos, the state capital, that the ministry will stand with the family until justice is served. She described the late corps member as a dedicated graduate of special education from the University of Jos and a beloved citizen of the state. Now, she also said that the state joined the chorus of voices across the nation in a resolute call for both the federal government and the Kaduna State government to ensure that the perpetrators of the crime are swiftly identified and brought to book. She also said the ministry will advocate a comprehensive and transparent investigation into the matter to ensure that justice is served and Grace's memory becomes a symbol of hope and a commitment to a just and caring society. In other news, the trial of Andrew Nice Omini Korong, a bus rapid transit driver who allegedly raped and murdered Oluwabamise Ayanwola, a 22-year-old fashion designer, continued on Friday at the Lagos High Court, sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square. The pathologist Sunday Shoemi, who examined the deceased in his testimony at the last prosecuting witness before the trial judge, Justice Sharifat Sonaike, said the late Ayanwola died of severe craniocerebral injury following a blunt force trauma. The defendant, Andrew Nice, a BRT driver, is facing a 5-count charge bordering on rape, conspiracy, felony, and murder preferred against him by the Lagos State government. The DPP also told the court that Andrew Nice, the bus driver, conspired with others now at large and forcefully had sexual intercourse with the late 22-year-old passenger without consent. The police in Benue State on Saturday have confirmed that the Otukpo Divisional Police Officer CSP John Adiku and 3 other operatives were killed during the armed robbery in commercial banks in the state on Saturday, or rather on Friday. The armed robbers caused a stir in the heart of Otukpo residents when they invaded some banks in the area on Friday afternoon. The Police Public Relations Officer SP Catherine Anene in a statement also confirmed that 5 banks were robbed simultaneously. Anene added that the police operatives later pursued and gunned down 2 of the robbers while still on the trail of others who abandoned their vehicles and ran into the bushes along Otukpo-Taraku axis. Meanwhile, Governor Hyacinth Alia has condemned the armed robbery attacks on some commercial banks in Otukpo and sympathized with the families of those who were gruesomely murdered by the robbers during the incident. Still talking security, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, has warned criminal elements in the country to lay down their arms or be ready to be eliminated. Lagbaja gave the warning on Friday at the graduation of the 654 battle-ready troops of exercise Restore Hope the 5th at the Nigerian Army Training Center, Kachia in Kaduna State. The Chief of Army Staff says the Nigerian Army would sustain the trajectory of training young soldiers to enhance their combat proficiency. He explains that the essence of the training was to make the troops better equipped to confront the security challenges in the country. The training code-named Exercise Restore Hope 5 is to adapt personnel who freshly passed out to the challenges posed by the ever-changing nature of threats within Nigeria's security environment. Now, traders in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, are decrying low patronage of their goods and services by customers. Now, this, according to them, is due to the decreasing purchasing power of most customers, which is negatively affecting their businesses. Here's the report.
In recent times, Nigerians across the nation have been struggling to put food on the table due to the increase in prices of foodstuffs in the market. In Taraba State, however, early last week, the prices began to reduce as a result of the bumper harvest from farmers. Despite the availability of food items and a reduction in price, patronage has further declined due to the non-availability of cash in circulation, further crashing the demands for foodstuffs. Some of the busy places in the market where foodstuffs are sold are experiencing a lull in activities. Some of the customers attributed the low patronage to the Naira exchange rate, insecurity and bad road network, while some associated it with the removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. They described the situation as a classic example of living from hand to mouth due to the rising cost of living.
Before we buy like this, as in, but the quantity is much. Now, the price is high and the quantity is low.
A palm wine seller, Bashir Usman, said before now, dealers used to give them some foodstuff and then get paid after the goods are sold, lamenting that now no dealer can afford to do that because they know that patronage has declined. Some traders said despite the abundance of foodstuff, patronage has declined, adding that some are even sleeping in their shops due to lack of money to go home.
We have foodstuffs here in abundant supply, but the level of patronage is too low. Someone who previously bought items worth 1,000 naira cannot afford to buy 500 naira worth now because there is no cash in circulation.
Before, there is customer, but now there is food. There is plenty goods, but there is no customer. There is no money.
We are facing problems with our customers because outside foodstuff, other essential goods are still expensive because their prices are always increasing. If you buy something at 1,000 naira today, next week the same item will be 2,000 naira. Shortage of money in hands of our customers is really affecting our business. Before, a supplier can give you foodstuff without collecting 1 naira from you until you sell them, but they cannot give you now because they know you cannot sell them on time.
Waziri Idris, a financial expert, calls for a reduction in some of the nation's currency denominations like the US, which has a $100 bill as the highest, and also address inflation. The traders called on the federal government to make cash available for the benefit of all.
Elsewhere, drivers and passengers in Yenagoa metropolis have called on the federal government to bring back fuel subsidy. Now, they made the call when Trust TV crew visited some motor terminals to ascertain the cost of transportation in and outside Bayelsa State. Friday, Amy Wowe Peters reports.
Peace Sunday and Uzubechukwu Anyanko, who are passengers at a popular motor park in Yenagoa, speak on their displeasure following the cost of transportation. They, however, call on the federal government to bring down the price of fuel in order to reduce the cost of transportation in Nigeria.
No, I'm not travel again. Only today I just managed to go there. Because of the transportation, it's too much. So now I make another travel again. IS 25 or 2,000. Now in the pay. But now, 5,000, 4,500. I mean, I don't understand. Even this travel, I supposed to carry my children travel. But no way. I just carry myself the travel. I want to make the government go and carry the fuel down. Let the fuel go down and everything for this Nigeria, no way again.
From Yenagoa to Onitsha, formerly it's 1,500 before. Now it's almost 5,000 naira. So that the way things is going is not comfortable. I used to travel before formally, and this one I'm going is because of burial. Without it, I used to this thing because of the high cost of things. So there's no way to travel sometimes ago. Government have to first of all to carry fuel down. That is fuel problem first, and the other these things, food to chop nowhere. Nigeria is not as in be before. So
transport operators say the cost of fuel price has reduced their customer base and appeal to the federal government to bring back fuel subsidy. They, however, promise to bring down their charges as soon as government restores the fuel subsidy.
They normally take a route like from Bayelsa to Onitsha, like some of 3,000, 2,500, as the case may be. But today, it's 4,500 naira. From here to Onitsha. I see precisely from here to Onitsha, because I will apply Bayelsa, Owerri, Onitsha route for now.
No more passenger because of the cost of the fuel. Passengers are not traveling again. When somebody asks how much are you taking from here to Onitsha, he say 5,000 or 4,500. He say no, it's too cost. So well, let me do way bill. And you can stay from here to 1 hour or 2 hours or 10 hours, even though you cannot see passenger to travel back to Onitsha back again. I want the federal government should bring back the fuel subsidy.
The fuel is too cost. That is why our price is too cost. So once they lower the fuel price, then the transport service will lower.
Premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, is sold at 635 naira in some filling stations in Yenagoa. Friday, Ebimobo with Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we'll tell you the story of the frustration of a community in Taraba State over dilapidated road in their community. More on this one after the break.
Let's take you on a ride through a series of colors, events, concerts, and lots more. Are you planning an event? EventScope has you covered. Make Trust TV your #1 choice to cover your event. Call 080-3591-0553. EventScope, making your event classic. Follow us on all of our social media platforms at Trust TV News for latest updates on EventScope.
Welcome back to the news. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Residents of Gadawa community cry out as military take over the primary school in their area. 2 dead, 3 others missing as passenger boat burns to ashes in Niger State. Residents of Mayo Raneo district in Arokola local government area of Taraba State are decrying a lack of motorable road in their community, linking them to other parts of the state. They say there's a need for the government to fix the roads for the benefit of the people to improve their socioeconomic well-being. Here's a report.
Mayo Raneo is one of the villages situated in Arokola local government area of Taraba State. Its original name is Mayo Raneo, a Fulfulde word meaning the White River. The district is located at an elevation of 122 meters above sea level and has an estimated population of 102,000 people. The town is blessed with mineral resources like mica, barytes, limestone, among other resources, and is among the agro-based area of the state. As a result of its proximity with the river Benue, fishery and farming have become major and important source of livelihood for the citizens. With an increased demand for fish and farm produce from the community, investors who would have boosted agriculture and fishing there are withdrawn due to the challenges of accessing the road to the major highway. Yusuf Saidu Kawu, the district head of Mayo Raneo, told Trust TV that the village is blessed with lots of natural resources and is the largest fish-producing community within the area of Jalingo, Yoro, Zing, and Arokola, but decried the lack of a good road for transportation. To address the inadequacy, Kawu said the district is galvanizing community efforts to construct the road.
We are facing the challenge of no access road here, and it is serious. I was born here to see the road to Marero the way it is now. Nothing has changed. A lot of complaints have been filed into different administrations in the state, but nothing has been done up to now. We are still praying and expecting this present administration will do the needful.
Adamu Buba, a ward head and a member of the Communal Efforts Committee, said the committee was set up to pave way for people from different locations of the state to come and invest in the community for the development of the state at large.
We waited for the government for so long to do something on this road. The state government sent a delegation here severally, but nothing has been done up to now. Since we are in the rainy season, if we don't do any form of palliative work on it, people won't even be able to pass on foot. The fish market day here is Saturday, but we're experiencing low patronage due to the damage on the road, which stopped heavy trucks from entering the village.
The chairman of the committee, Inua Ibrahim, who is also the Sardauna of Mayo Raneo, told Trust TV that since the government seems to have forgotten that the community exists, it has therefore become necessary for them to intensify efforts to fix the road.
We decided to fix the road here in our own way to save our economy and sustain us. We are calling our children and brothers that live in different parts of the country to assist us to ensure that the road is linked to the highway for the benefit of our community.
Both operators in the area lamented a decline in their operations due to the bad road, which has reduced traffic in the riverbank.
Our area is a business hub due to the number of goods we produce here, but we don't have a portable road for trucks to come and transport the produce due to the poor road network.
They called on both federal and state government to consider their plight and do the needful on the road.
To some of the day's other news, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has urged the federal government to reduce agricultural interest loans to single digits to help transform the agribusiness in the country. Obasanjo made the call in Abuja at the launch of Youths in Agribusiness project with the theme Enabling Scaling of Innovative Technologies for Sustainable Food Solutions. He said if the youths had to go to the bank to borrow money at the rate of 20% interest rate, it would be difficult for them to succeed in the agricultural business sector. The former president appeals to the federal government to find a way that youths could get access to finance at the right rate for agricultural development. According to the former president, agricultural stakeholders have done tremendous work in providing the right seed, hybrid seed, high-yielding seeds, and knowledge that can be used to transform the agricultural subsector in the country. To developments on the international scene now, Israel has directed its citizens to immediately leave Egypt and Jordan. This is according to the National Security Council that made a statement on Saturday as regional tensions flared over the war in Gaza. The notice comes days after Israel recalled its diplomatic envoys from Egypt and Jordan. Now, the evacuation call comes days after protests across the Middle East over Israeli bombardment of the Gaza Strip. The war ignited after Hamas militants stormed Israel from the Gaza Strip, taking more than 200 hostages and killing at least 1,400 people, mostly civilians, who were shot, mutilated or burnt to death, according to Israeli officials. Israel has since vowed to destroy Hamas, and a bombing campaign was launched in response that has leveled entire city blocks in Gaza, so far killing 4,137 Palestinians, mostly civilians, according to Hamas-run military health ministry. And in sports, Morocco plans to build a large stadium in Ben Slimane near Casablanca and upgrade 6 others in preparation for the co-hosting of the 2030 World Cup. This is according to the Prime Minister's office in a statement released on Friday. A deal was signed the same day between the government and the state-funded CDG to finance the new stadium to be ready by 2028 for a total cost of 5 billion dirhams, which is equivalent to $500 million. The 6 stadiums to be renovated to host the Africa Cup of Nations in 2025 and the 2030 World Cup are in the cities of Agadir, Casablanca, Fez, Marrakesh, Rabat, and Tangier, according to the statement. Morocco will be the second African country to host the World Cup after South Africa that hosted the event back in 2010. Well, that's all the news at this hour. We'll be back a little later at 9 o'clock for today's bulletin. We hope to see you then. For now, however, feel free to follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more of our contents and visit trusttv.com for the latest news stories. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.